And I'll try not to make the videos too long. So this is the last section. This is about buying, renting, or leasing. This is the only section that we're not going to use the app on your phone. So hopefully all of you have the TVM calculator. This is the only one we're not using that. And that's just because the math in this is pretty straightforward. So in this, it's another one of those, which is the better option? So is it going to be buying, renting, or leasing? Have you guys heard of Lease before, or no? Yeah, you've heard of Lease? Anyone else? Yeah? Okay. So for those of you who don't know, leasing is it's kind of like renting. You rent it for a little bit, but then at the end of whatever contract you have, you can choose to buy the rest of that item. So for instance, my parents always lease cars. So they'll pay a monthly payment on their car, and then at the end of 3 years, they have the option to buy the rest of the car if they want, or they just give the car back. So it's kind of like renting, except the money goes towards purchasing the car if you want to. That's essentially what lease is. Equity, asset, appreciation, depreciation. These ones, you don't need to worry so much about it. If you're planning to continue on with business, you will want to know what these are. But for the sake of my class, I'm not going to go into these details. Okay? Just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to focus on what I want to teach you. So if you want to go into depth on these, if you're planning to, start your own business, if you're wanting to get into the art of buying something with the intent of selling it at a higher price later on, like old coins or old cars, something like that, this might be important. But for this class, we're not going to worry about that. All right, let's get into an example. I know this is a lot of words, but we're going to pull out all the information we need for this. So Mandy's needing a vehicle for work, on average about 12 days a month. So she's got 3 options. And notice here we are leasing or buying, or it doesn't say it here, or here it is, rent. So these are the 3 options. For this unit, it's usually going to be those 3 options. And what we're going to need to do is go through this and figure out what is the important bits of information. So to start this off, let's look at leasing. So here's our first option. So what she could do in order to lease it is, first of all, she's paying a down payment. So this is how much she's paying initially. And the lease payments are going to be $380 per month. So already you should be thinking this is something we're going to do every month. And then we've got some insurance every year that we're going to pay. We're going to have repairs and maintenance, which is going to be $50 every month. So it's basically just telling you what all do you need to pay for your car. And it's saying that you can do this over 4 years. Per month plus tax. It doesn't tell us what the tax amounts are, so we're not going to deal with that at this point. We're just going to assume the numbers have the taxes included. Because I don't know what the tax percent would be for this. So this is a lot of information. Okay, it's all given all at once. So we need to figure out how much are we actually going to pay over these 4 years. So if we want to figure out the total amount paid, let's take a look at what all we're paying here. So we've got a down payment of $4,000. So let's start off with that. So we're paying $4,000 for a down payment. What else are we paying? Okay, so we've got this amount per month for 4 years. So to get the total amount from that, we go 380 times what? Times 48. How'd you get the 48? Good. Yeah. So it's monthly times 4 years. So let's actually calculate this here. Nope. No, I just write it like this so you can see what all you're paying. But if on a test you just said times 48, that's fine. So 18,240. What else are we paying? Yeah. So we're paying this for 4 years. So 1220 times 4. So this will give us 4,880. Yeah. So 50 every month for 4 years. So again, it's going to be times this 48. Again, I'll put that in the calculator. Yeah. 2,400. Anything else we're paying? What does it say? No equity. Don't care about that. Is there any question on this and what we're doing? Or is this making sense? So we're just figuring out what's the total amount that I'm paying. So from here we just add everything up. 4,000 plus 18,240 plus 4,880, 2,400. So in total, she's going to pay 29,520. So just add up everything she's paying. That's going to be the total. We good with this? Yeah, so I just added all these up. So I took 4,000 plus 18,000 this, plus this, plus this. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it comes from that. So this would be how much it would be in order to lease it. Let's look at buying. Oh, actually, this one I think we will use the phone. Let's see. So in order to buy it, here's the original price. So it's a 4-year term. We've got 4.5% interest. This one's compounded monthly. So same insurance, same repairs, same maintenance as all the other ones. Yeah, so it's a 4-year term, so we know the amount of time. So in order to solve this one, we're going to use what's on the phone app. So we're going to look at present value. We know what that one is, 32,800. We've got, what are the payment amounts? No. Is she paying it off every month or every week or anything like that? Does it say she's paying every year? It says a 4-year term. It says the interest is compounded monthly, but it doesn't say anything about paying this much every month, or it doesn't say $100 every week. So she's not. This is for renting. This one's the last option. So we'll get to that once after we're done the second one here. So she's not making any payments. We're just assuming she's going to pay it all at the end. So future value, this is what we're looking for. We've got a rate of 4.5. What else? Periods. So how many periods do I got in this case? 48 again, yeah. So we got, again, compounded monthly, and it's for 4 years. So I'll just write it out so we can see it, but it's, yeah, 48. And then the compounds gives us monthly. So if you put this in your phone, yeah. This is posted up on Google Classroom already. If you want to, sure. Yeah. Like this exact notes is posted, but if you want to take it from here, that's totally fine. 32,800. All right, so you got a value of 39,255.51, right? That's what you got? Okay. So this is how much she pays with that amount, but notice here it says she also has the same insurance, repairs, and maintenance costs. So this isn't actually included in this amount. So if you remember from the last one, here's the insurance. We pay this much every year, and we have the repairs and maintenance. So we still have to add that onto this. So we have this as our feature value, plus these two. Because these are what are both included in this. So plus the 4,880 plus the 2,400. So again, this is just from insurance and the repairs and maintenance. So for this one, we scroll down a bit. So here's going to be the total for this case. Yeah, you should be in one first. Yeah, so the total, I took the feature value that we took from this, so from the phone, plus this is the amount that I got from the insurance. So the insurance was this amount, which is the first option there. And it says we also have the same repairs and maintenance. So the repairs and maintenance was this amount. So these two things are just the insurance from here and the repairs and maintenance here. So it says it has the same ones, so I just used the same ones from before. That's a good question. So we will determine the better one once we get to the end. I'll get to that and I'll explain how we can figure that out. But that's a great question to figure out which one's the best one. And there's kind of a trick to it. But we'll get to that. Any other questions with this one? Or are we good with this? Okay. So let's try rent. So renting, this one's actually the easiest one. We're told how much she pays every day, and that's it. So all we need to figure out is how many days she needs it, and then we're good. So in our question, we are told she needs it 12 days a month, and she wants it for 4 years. So in order to figure this one out, we're going to do the total. So this is going to be 49.99 times 12, because it's 12 days each month, times 12 for the amount of months, times 4, because it's 4 years. Yep. Yes, every day, but it says she only needs it 12 days a month. Yeah. Yeah, so this is just assuming she borrows it or she rents it only on the day she needs it. So she's not going to use it for luxury or anything like that. So then times these out. This is 4. Yeah, because it's 4 years. So we get our total in this case. It's 28,794.24. So these are the 4 different totals that we get. Now the question is, which one of these is going to be the best option? To rent it? What? Okay. Well, that's the thing. So renting, you might think it's the best one because it's the cheapest. You don't have to pay maintenance. You don't have to pay any repairs. How many of you think that leasing is the best option? The first one. Which, if you were given these options, which one would you pay? Lease? Okay. So you think buy because maybe you could sell it afterwards and get some of that money back? Okay. Yeah. So it'd be cheaper than those, yeah? Yusuf, what do you think? So taxes would just mean you would take this and you would add on whatever percentage of tax there is. So if it's, let's say it's 22% tax, you would do the amount here times 0.22 would get you the tax, and then you add that on top of it. So it's just an additional cost that you put there.
I will multiply 18,000 to 140 by 0.21.
Yeah, which would get you, that's the amount of tax you have to pay, and so you'd add that on top of the total. Yeah. So this is the thing with these 3 options. So you could pick any of these as the better option and get it right. So that's the nice thing about this one, is you get to the end with all the totals. I can make an argument for why each of these is a great option. So I could say renting because it's the cheapest. So therefore that's the great thing that you want. So if you just want the cheapest one for budget, go with renting. If you, but the problem with this one is you only get it 12 days a month. So suppose you're like, I want to use the vehicle on the extra days as well, but I still can't afford buying it. Leasing is a great option. Okay, it's a little bit more expensive, but for that extra, what is it? It's under $1,000. Yeah, so with around 800, you can use this car for the other half of the month. So that's not too bad. For this one, it says no equity. But yeah, normally with leasing, yes, and then that pays towards the car. So you could buy the rest of it if you wanted to. Buying is also a great option for exactly what Husney's saying. You have it, it's yours, so you could use it after 4 years, or you could try and earn back some of this money you spent by selling it. So as he said, you could sell it for 50% of what you bought it for, and it would still be cheaper than the other options. So any of these could be correct. It's however you want to argue it. So whenever you have a question like this on the test or in the practice problems, there's never only one option that's correct. You can pick whichever one you think is right. And you might think something different than someone else, and that's totally okay. Because each one of these are viable depending on the situation. Yeah?
So if the lease doesn't have like what's the difference between it and renting?
That's a great question. So it depends on who you are renting it from or leasing it from. Typically, I think leasing has a contract. So you're saying, I want to lease it for this amount of time. Whereas renting can be, I'm going to rent it for this day and then bring it back. And there's no contract. You can just pick which days you want to rent it. So leasing tends to have more of a contract, whereas renting doesn't. At least in my experience with that. Any other questions with this? Okay. Do I want, okay. I'm just seeing if there's any terminology that I want to teach from this instead of just letting you guys work. These ones basically do the same thing. This one has like an installation fee that you'd need to pay. There's one thing that I would want you to consider with something like this. So if I told you that instead of doing this for 4 years, if I said that you wanted to use the car for 10 years. So instead of this being 4 years, I said you'd want it for 10 years. Which of these options do you think would become a better option? Renting?
Renting or leasing? Because buying wouldn't be the point. It would.
Because it takes longer to pay it off, so you're paying more interest, right?
Not only that, but if you're buying it and you're going to use it for 10 years, why would you pay more for 10 years when you come to that afterwards it's going to be like 80% less, 100% less?
Yeah, because of wear and tear, yeah.
So renting would be much better.
Okay.
You pay much more. If you buy it, you buy it. You have it for the next one. If you're paying interest, you're paying.
Yeah, because I mean we can try it out and see. So if we're buying this, so the number of periods would change. So instead of it being 4 times 12, it's going to be 10 times 12. So 120 payments. So this goes from 39,000 up to 51,000. So it's quite a huge jump in what you're paying. Yes, the rent's going to go up. Yes, the leasing's going to go up. But just trying to think in the long term, trying to think which is better. If I've just paid this off in 4 years and it's done, then this would be better. So this is why this section's kind of nice, because you can argue your way into which answer is right. So you don't have to say this one is the only right one, and if you don't pick that, you're wrong. You can just pick and argue why it's right. Yeah, Kareem? Yeah.
I think if you have that amount of money that you can buy that for, and you can lease it up to that, you're going to gain a lot of money, and gain the money more than you buy.
You mean to lease it and then pay it off at the end? You mean like it's yours and then you lease it out to someone else? Yeah. That's another option. Yep. So yeah, I'm going to skip these 2 questions. They're essentially the exact same, just with different terminologies. I'd rather you spend more time doing the practice problems. So I'm going to stop the notes there.